Vizrt is the parent company for NDI. Vizrt created NDI in order to get more production capabilities into their TriCaster systems. And we've been hosting NDI November for about 7 years now. We are very happy to be talking with Vizrt from not only the NDI technology aspect, but also the Vizrt hardware and production products that are available to help with all of your production workflows. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Jeremy Morris from Vizrt. Hey, Jeremy, how are you?
Hi, Jim. How are you?
Doing excellent. Thank you again for joining us for another NDI November. We love having you on the show with us, not only for NDI November every year, but we can also count on you by joining us a few times throughout the year to talk about some of the Vizrt products and technology as more and more stuff is added to the workflow. For our audience members who don't know you, why don't you take a moment and introduce yourself?
Jeremy Moore, a senior pre-sales consultant and evangelist. I think that's my title this week. Anyway, a long time on the dealer end user side. I started in high school on a video toaster, and my career has come full circle when I took the job with NewTek about 6 years ago, and then came along for the ride as NewTek and Vizrt merged under the one umbrella. So always been on the TriCaster side, always on the end user side. So any questions, fire away.
That's awesome. I know we are broadcasting today from our NDI studio here in Broadfield HQ. And every time we run into a question with our products working, our TriCaster getting set up, using Zoom to bring in a guest or Microsoft Teams, we reach out to Jeremy and the rest of the team at Vizrt. You guys are always super helpful. So thank you for that, Jeremy. We really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. And as you can see, I'm in my NDI facility here in my shed down here in Georgia, where all the technology is most definitely running around NDI from all the different parts and pieces that I have, not just from the Viz branded equipment, but some of our partners as well. They like to throw stuff at me and say, here, try this, make this work, and how can you make this dance? I'm like, the beauty about NDI is once you speak it, everything speaks it. And so it's nice to be able to sing off that same sheet music and have a lot of fun with a lot of cool toys.
Absolutely. And I hope that's one of the messages that really comes across this week. When we talk about the NDI ecosystem, it is available in lots of different products from lots of different manufacturers. That NDI protocol is opened up for anyone to develop into their product lines. Vizrt, being the founder of the NDI technology, obviously is going to integrate it into their production products, but it all plays well on the network. It all plays well together. So finding the mix and match of the products that fit best for your production is one of the reasons why we put together all of this content for you. So let's talk a little bit about the Viz Connect family, because this is the family of products that really live to help expand that production workflow through the network, right?
Right. I mean, everyone's known the TriCaster for a long, long time. In fact, this is the 20th birthday year of the TriCaster family. And yes, going back to the IVGA days, a few in the chat may even know what that is. How to interoperability connect different devices together across the network. You know, it's kind of been the glue to what we've been able to do for so long, is be able to convert different types of signals to different other types of signals to get them into your production. And so we had the Connect, we used to be called Sparks, now they're called the Connect Solos. Those allow for baseband video connectivity, HDMI, 3G SDI, 12G SDI, convert that into NDI, get it on the network, but also going back out. That was one of the cool things, especially if you go back in the Wayback Machine to when the Mini 4K launched. People were like, hey, it's NDI only box. How do we connect to other devices? Well, here's a cool little box that can convert all that. Well, that product family has now developed into the Solo lineup. We've got the tally capability. We're going to have some more when it comes to metadata and some other aspects and control, some API functionality. There's a lot more to come with not just our version of that product, but other types of converters that are out there. So it really makes it nice and easy to expand your workflow very cost effectively. Going back to baseband video, to add something new, you had to run a whole lot of cable. You had to add a whole lot of parts and pieces in the middle. You may have to expand your router. We don't have to do that anymore. Once we're on the network, we can move things around far more effectively. And so, yeah, so the Sparks, now the Solos, are a great little Swiss Army knife to throw in your bag, especially if you've got an ever-evolving production where it changes day out, or even between morning and afternoon. Those little boxes can help out quite a bit, especially when you try to grow and expand your capability. And then we've got our rack mounted products. So those allow for more connectivity, more in a permanent installation with the Viz Connect Studio, with the baseband video, the SDI on the inputs, but it lives in a rack closet somewhere. It knows to be in a fixed location. Then we came out with Tetra a couple years ago and totally changed the game. That's a powerful little box, and I love talking about it. I think it was 2 NABs ago that we first showcased it. And that small little form factor, that P3 chassis, the fact that we can do 4 12G connections and convert that into NDI or back out again. I can convert NDI to NDI. And I love watching people's head lock up when I say that. Why in the world do you want to do that? Look, well, because I can do color correction. I can re-embed audio. I can do a whole lot of stuff with that NDI signal flow internal to a Tetra. Now we add NDI Bridge to it. So that becomes our ground to cloud box to handle what we do with the Vector product line. And there's another little cool thing that we kind of snuck in there is the Zoom ISO capability. We put that in our TriCasters, and we're talking about that. Zoom partnered with us to do a lot of the Zoom ISO features inside of the TriCaster, and now I have that capability inside Tetra. So Tetra is a ridiculously powerful little product that I love talking about as much as I can. But we'll get into the Viz Connect audio as well. If you've got anything else you want to stop me first before I keep going.
I just want to give a really good recap of the products that you talked about, because the Viz Connect Solo is going to give you your encoder, decoder capability, HDMI, 3G SDI, 12G SDI. The great thing about them is it could be mounted at the production system. It could be mounted at the camera. You can use that as your Swiss Army knife, as Jeremy mentioned, to really get any video source into your network, into your production system. The way I like to think of the Viz Connect Studio is the I/O expansion to a TriCaster system. You are now no longer limited to the SDI capture card, the HDMI I/O ports on a TriCaster system. You can use something like the Viz Connect Studio to get more and more sources available, again, over the network using the NDI functionality. And now, if the Viz Connect Studio is your I/O expansion dock, the Tetra would be your expansion engine. Not only are you getting that I/O capability, but you're getting the horsepower that was built into the Tetra to add the Zoom functionality that Jeremy was talking about, and these other, almost like a GPU does for a computer system, the Tetra can do for your production workflow, right?
Right, as a standalone sidecar. I mean, we've got a lot of people that are using it across facilities. We've done that with the Connect Studio box being between different rooms or different buildings on a localized campus. Tetra now adds that ability of bridging across public internet when you don't have direct network connectivity or direct fiber between locations. So Tetra is great, that small little form factor, take it wherever you need to. I can remux audio. I can run Dante virtual sound card on it. So now we can play in the Dante world and re-embed some audio in with the video and be able to send that out and also bring it back down, especially in the cloud environment. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, cloud's great. How do I get my sources from what's happening on-prem up to the cloud? Tetra is the box that handles a lot of that, both going up and coming back down, because I can decode whatever's coming down out of the cloud and make that into baseband video. And then we move into the Connect audio world, which I've been up and down for years over audio products in the NDI ecosystem for a long, long time. And we've really knocked that out of the park with the Connect audio box. And in fact, Richard Evans has a Tuesday tutorial today on the Viz Connect audio. So it's almost like we planned it, even though we really didn't. It just looks like it.
Right. Absolutely. And the Viz Connect audio is great. And that's one of the things that we spoke about last week when Miguel was joining us, talking about where NDI technology is today and where it's going, is you're really putting a lot of resources and a lot of technology into supporting the audio space, making that all part of the same NDI production workflow that you handle so adeptly with video on the local network and remote video workflows now as well, right?
Yeah, and the fact that it kind of behaves like an NDI stage box. And I've got a lot of that are using that in that world where they're taking stuff local on the analog side, getting it into the NDI ecosystem, and then marrying it up with video at some point down the road, either embed it to a camera or put it inside of a TriCaster through that VCA input that shows up on the network as an audio source. So that makes it very cool. In fact, that's kind of how you hear me today, is I'm taking my mic, do a Viz Connect audio, NDI out of that box into my TriCaster, and then marry that up with the video off my camera, and then my TriCaster is the output back to this call that we're on today. So I'm showing it working live.
That's great. So before we get into some of the different workflows and what it enables, give us a little bit of the physical rundown of what the Viz Connect audio is.
Yeah, so it's a one rack unit box. It does have the rack ears on it, so it can be mounted forward or in the rear of the rack. It does have 8 combo, and these are really cool, combo connections. So it's either XLR or quarter inch. So it doesn't matter what type of connector, as long as it's a balanced signal. I mean, we support the unbalanced, but obviously being an audio guy myself, you want that balanced connection into it. And then we have the 4 XLR outs. So now I'm taking my program, or even on an aux signal, and I can route that as NDI going back out. Now I can decode that on those 4 XLR outputs. So there are some lights on the back, especially when it comes to phantom power. So it will show you that you have phantom power on the inputs. So when you think about your mic selection source, is a mic line, do you need phantom power? All that can be addressing it in the GUI, but also from the front panel control. So you can kind of run independent of everything else you have going on. So it's been over-engineered with a lot of cool stuff, a lot of headroom, and I know there's a lot more coming. I just found out yesterday about some new stuff that's coming that I wish I could have talked about today, but more to come. I was hoping to be able to show it today as a sneak preview, but it's not quite ready for release yet. But it shows you the advancement, what we're able to do with the hardware and the technology. I mean, it's moving at a breakneck pace. We've got a lot of stuff with that. So from that front panel, you've got that dial control. You can see your gain structure. You can set your inputs and outputs. You can also select, in fact, that was the video Richard put out today, is you can select your source for your output from the front panel. I don't have to go into the web GUI to make that adjustment. I can if I want to, but if I'm on location, if it's on a rack site somewhere, it's next to the stage, or if it's somewhere in a different production environment, I can go right to that front panel and do my routing assignments from the NDI ecosystem. So it makes it very slick to operate.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we talk about any of the Viz Connect product, we're really talking about 3 key tenets to making these products work in your production environment. It's the connectivity that Jeremy just spoke about, giving you all that audio I/O capability. It's visibility. It's monitoring what's going on the network. Where are your audio sources coming from? How do you route them to the production system and to different production systems? Jeremy, I know one of the big advantages we talk about is that when you put things on the network, those sources, either audio or video, are available to every other device on the network, right?
Right. And so inside Connect Audio, we can go through with Discovery Server. If I want to isolate certain things, if I've got multiple devices on the network, I don't want to see everything. I mean, you could have 700 things that show up on an NDI network. You only want to see the certain ones. So I can run Discovery Server. I can run Access Manager. Connect Audio also has NDI Bridge built in. So now I'm dropping this box somewhere on location. If it's a sporting event, if I just want to bring back the announcers, or if I want to send the announcers out to the field, they're in the booth somewhere, they're in a different location. Well, now I have a way to decode that audio to the local people on the ground. If I have someone that's manning the live sporting event, if they're handling on the sideline reporters or whatever, I can do audio completely independent of video now, which is, again, something that has, since they've invented NDI and the different iterations, it used to be audio had to follow video. Well, now I can do the breakaway. So I can route things independent of each other. There's a lot of flexibility in that workflow on the audio side that we've had in video for a while. So you can see how we're growing in this technology and this ecosystem. And we don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time. You're just adding different peripherals as needed. That's the other cool part about this.
No, absolutely. It definitely is. And the Viz Connect audio, again, it gives you all of those different capabilities built into that rack mountable unit. You can see it in detail here. Let's pull out some of these details in full screen. You can see as we walk through these, you talk about the XLR or mini jack input capability. You talk about your stereo output capability via XLR, the ability to work balanced or unbalanced. All your professional audio controls are built into the Viz Connect audio here.
Yeah, and the other cool part on that front panel, having that solo capability, where you're able to hear what's going on from those 8 inputs right there on the front of the box. So now I've got monitoring of an analog source in an NDI ecosystem. That's very cool.
That is very cool, absolutely. The product was built on user feedback. You're listening to the people that are out there doing these productions. whether it's corporate AV, whether it's live event production, whether it's sports production that Jeremy was just talking about a moment ago, routing the audio and being able to control and look at your different audio sources and separate those from the video that's routed over the NDI network was the key driver for creating a product like the Viz Connect audio, right?
Yeah, so we had the flex panels from the control aspect of it where we had the onboard audio card, and we got a lot of feedback saying, hey, that'd be nice if we had this as a standalone box. Well, now we've got it. So they also work very well with each other. So I can have my flex control panel using some of the analog features on the audio side on the card on the control panel, as well as having the Connect audio in a different ecosystem. So I'm routing audio, like I said, independent of the video just for monitoring or embedding, or we've done this with translation services. That's something that comes up quite a bit now in a lot of our international clientele that are doing a lot of productions with a lot of different viewership and a lot of different languages. There's be a way to add a lot more channels, sometimes on the fly. And so having a lot of capabilities here has really made it nice.
Absolutely. And it comes down to flexibility. The advantage of doing AV over IP, audio and video, is giving you the flexibility to create the production workflow that you need to deliver to your audience, whether they're tuning in on social media, whether they're tuning in to a broadcast, or even if it's just a video on demand, to be able to produce that either on-prem or remote and access everything over the network is why this technology has become so prevalent in the connectivity and the products that we're talking about. And this is what has really made TriCaster production solutions very popular, right, Jeremy?
Oh, most definitely. We've got a long history here of different types of use cases. That's been the great thing about the TriCaster. So, the 20 years of it being in production, we're in every vertical market you can think of, from corporate to sporting events to colleges to higher ed, Fortune 500s, government locations, international corporations, a lot of podcasters, content creators. We service a wide variety of clientele, which also means a lot of different people have to use the box a lot of different ways.
Yep.
And that's where having these little products like this, like the Solos, like the Tetra, like the Connect audio, came out of user feedback. How do we make our lives better and make our workflows simpler and easier to use? So if you think about going way back, we've talked about this since the beginning of the NDI November series, which I'm thankful to now be a part of it. I think this is my third year overall. Tons of shows with you guys anyways. How do we solve the problems for the end user? A lot of times it was, how do we solve the problems for the dealer and the integrator? A lot of those conversations were happening at that level for a long, long time. It really didn't make it to the end user side up until like the last couple of years, when we kind of broke down that democratization of video and made it easier for end users to implement a lot of this technology themselves. I mean, think about, the Netgear interface, and commissioning a switch was so much easier than, me having to go through every little nitpick thing inside of a GUI of a switch to make it operate. We've simplified a lot over the years, especially other manufacturers that have got on board to be able to make this happen. The ease of use, not just from deploying it from an integrator side, but also from an end user side. How much can an end user that doesn't have years and years of experience, they're just getting started in this business, or they're completely green whatsoever, they just got tasked with it by their corporate entity or whatever. Now they have to do something that they really weren't schooled to do in the first place. How do we make it easy enough for them to operate and to deploy this quickly and cost effectively? Again, we're always going down that route. And so having that capability, and we built our stuff for that. We can make that big, fat, easy button. We have that capability. And if you want to get in deep as possible, you can. So that's been kind of what's been fun about this industry for the longest time. I hate using the term future-proof because nothing ever is. It's all about mitigation. What's the next thing that comes up? Look what happened with COVID. How do we have to pivot? How do we take everything online? Be able to do remote demos of a TriCaster live in person on a Zoom call or on a Teams call. That just proved the capabilities because we were using it in the intended purpose. You want to demo it? Here, it's actually working as is. We take that a step further from the end user. What's the out-of-box experience look like? Hey, when I get this out, I power it on, I connect things up. We've simplified that even so much now to Mini S, where it's software version of a TriCaster. We're going that route. We've always been that way. To how do we make the lives better? And we're proving it day in and day out with the product family that we have here at Vizrt.
Absolutely. And Jeremy, you said it perfectly. And I think it was one of our other guests on the show last week. that said the goal is never really to make anything future-proof, but to make it scalable. And what I love about the TriCaster lineup is there really is a perfect TriCaster solution that will meet the production needs and probably the budget that you're looking to hit today, but still give you the scalability to grow and add more. And a lot of that is through the NDI technology. If you take the TriCaster Mini software and you put that on a powerful enough workstation with a powerful enough network driven by the Netgear AV switches, you're going to be able to get a bunch of NDI sources into that to give you all of your production capabilities on a software platform without any hardware I/O added to that at all. Of course, if you need some of those traditional baseband I/O connections, you want to connect your podcasting camera, webcams, local studio cameras, that's where the TriCaster Mini X comes in. It is certified hardware that comes from Vizrt directly with the TriCaster interface and the I/O devices or capabilities for your cameras. If you want to grow beyond the TriCaster Mini system, that's where you have this whole line of the TriCaster 410 Plus, the TC1, the TC1 Pro, and of course the brand new TriCaster Vision. Now, Jeremy, we're looking at a slide here that talks about a special promo that's available with all these TriCasters and the Flex control panel. I know how much you love the Flex control panel and the Flex dual control panels. Tell us a little bit about these products and how they really act as that physical interface for your production system.
Yeah, I got both of them running here in front. The Flex, when we first came out with the Flex, that really was, groundbreaking, and again, changed the game. That's what we always do. But we talked about just from running a TriCaster with the user interface. Okay, but how do you do that? And then what capabilities are built into that panel? Well, what we did with the Flex when it first came out was we changed the connectivity type. It wasn't just USB or it wasn't just serial over Ethernet. We legit were connecting our control panels with NDI. And a lot of people were like, well, wait a minute, I thought it was just for video. It's like, well, underlying inside that connectivity is that layer for control. And that expanded the capabilities for multi-use to get us into that cloud capability of getting it into dual operators or having that disaster recovery aspect of it. From one control panel, I can talk to any TriCasters on the network, which means I could have 8 panels talking to the same TriCaster, so I could have 2 operators, or go the other direction. I could have one panel to talk to multiple different TriCasters in different locations. So from a scalability aspect of it, and we've had this with a few of some of our contractors in minor league sports, where they're doing a lot of remote control. The TriCaster is on field in one location, but their operator stays in their home to be able to control whatever system, whatever game that they need to from one panel. And all that's based on that NDI technology. We've added the card slots for audio, so now I can marry up analog audio with that NDI on the control panel side. So people were thinking, wait, why in the world do you want to do that? Well, this allows me for that flexibility of taking the show on the road. I'm outside of my normal comfort of my studio. I'm out of the shed, if you will. I'm at a trade show or I'm at some customer site. I can plug in local audio, connect that up, and send that back to the TriCaster, mix that for the live production. So, and then camera control. Yes, we've been doing that for forever and a day. So having that capability inside our Flex control panels took us to that next level once we got to cloud. Now with Vector, we're able to do a lot of cloud production and are cost effective and far faster than I ever thought was possible at this date and time that, I've seen that. I was just on a call this morning regarding some of that cloud operations where a lot of people are going that route, but I still have to switch the show in front of me. How can I do that? Well, the Flex panels allows for that. So while yes, all my production's being done in the cloud, all my video sources and the IO, if I'm streaming it out or I'm sending it back to another location or re-embedding it to a different outfit, but or going back down linear for regular broadcast, I still have to control it somehow. The Flex panels allow for that. And the fact that I can mix and match whatever TriCaster I want to talk to at a given moment, again, goes back to the name of it. It's flexible. That's the TriCaster Flex for a reason.
Absolutely. And our goal is to get the Flex control panel into every TriCaster operator's hands. We have put together some great promos with Vizrt. You can reach out to your local Vizrt authorized partner. They have access to these promos where they can bundle any TriCaster with a flex control panel at some of the promo prices that you see here available for the end of the year, or you can upgrade to the flex dual control panel from any of these bundles for $5,000 more. And what I'd like to say is if you work with your Vizrt authorized partner, they can help you find the perfect TriCaster that fits your production workflow. You will see as we look through the comparison chart here, everything from the TriCaster Mini X to the TriCaster Vision flagship stations, you can see the mix and match capability. The great thing about it is the hardware engine and capabilities of I/O that changes throughout the product line, but it is the same great TriCaster production software. It is the same production workflow. It is the same great capability with the flex control panel as you're able to go through and do everything right in front of you. So, Jeremy, any of our Vizrt partners can walk the customers through finding that right system here, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. And the control panels can be added on whenever you need to. So that's something else that some people kind of freak out when they see that. That's why we do the bundles as well. Say, hey, here's the total package. But if you can't get there right now, you can always come back and add it later. We've seen that, especially in a lot of the corporate world where they're just getting into it. They're just trying to figure out how they want to run it. Okay, now I need an actual panel because I have more comfortability, with pushing actual buttons instead of clicking with the mouse. I want a control panel. Great, we can add that to it. So we don't prevent you or we don't lock you into one type of workflow depending on whatever TriCaster you're on. It doesn't matter. We also have the trading capability. So if you start on an entry-level system, want to grow up, that's fine. We give you the trade-in offers as well. So a lot of that flexibility, again, we use that word a lot, and scalability to your production are definitely available with everything that we offer from Vizrt.
Absolutely. And that extends to the Viz Connect stuff that we started the show talking about as well. You can take any of those TriCaster production systems that we talked about, and what you're going to do is start with the production system itself. Then you'll talk about the control panel and how you're going to use that production environment. Then you can go ahead and add something like the Viz Connect audio. Right now, if you add it to the original bundle, there's a special deal at $19.95. But as Jeremy mentioned, you don't have to add it to your original purchase. You can add it at any time. You can really scale the workflow all along the way. And one of the things I love about what Vizrt is doing now under the strength of the Vizrt brand is it's not just software, hardware expansion capabilities, but we're opening up the world of software now as well with 3D graphics engines like Viz Flowics, right?
Yeah, Flowics actually comes with Vision, so it's a great package out of the gate. You pretty much get everything that we have to offer right there at the get-go. But all of our TriCasters support Flowics. What's really cool about Flowics is it's standalone. It's completely independent. You're just logging in from a browser anywhere on the planet to do content creation and do your graphic layout. Going back to a couple of years ago where I did the call with you guys from Bryant Park, and I'm on my laptop and I'm outputting the Flowics graphics live. That was just a killer video, and I love the fact that we were able to pull that off. It really does make it very, not just ease of use, but flexible in the content creation and also super powerful in the data connectivity. That's something that's lost in a lot of this when it comes to graphic is what is your content? What's the source? Where's it coming from? And how do you want to display it on air? Well, Flowics kind of makes all that world a lot easier to manage and deal with depending on where's that data information coming from. Is it voting machines? Is it rocket telemetry? Is it sporting statistics? Is it financial data? Is it whatever? We can parse that. Social media interactivity. We can parse that data, create it into that branding guideline and look that you want and put that on air. We've got a lot of tutorials online to talk about that, especially with our new package of presets. A lot of people remember back in the day when we had live text inside TriCaster, all those various different presets that were available for you to use. We've done the same thing with Flowics, only a whole lot more and better looking and up to date from a graphical look.
Absolutely.
Very, very powerful. And with that, we also have Artist on the what we call the traditional orange product line with Viz Artist. We've got Trio. We've got the 3D look with that side of it, where Flowics is HTML5, so it's coming across the network basically as flat, but it's still animated. I can still have a lot of motion into it. I just won't have the full 3D aspect of it. If you want the full 3D, well, that's where Artist comes into play with Trio. So we end with our Viz engine, and that becomes a whole other conversation.
Absolutely. And we'll have to have you back on the show to have that conversation as well. But all the graphics that you see throughout NDI November, all of our lower thirds, all of our fly-in animations, these are all being driven by Flowics. So this is a live demo of how we're using it in our TriCaster system. And as Jeremy mentioned, these are HTML5 graphics, true broadcast quality, and really can be fired up and brought into your production from anywhere. Jeremy, thank you so much for joining us again for NDI November.
Oh, my pleasure to be here. And I'm actually glad that Gary's not here because we probably would go 4 hours.
I'm sure you would. I was glad I was able to keep it nice and short, nice and succinct. I still think we have a lot of great information available for all of our audience tuning in today. And I do want to mention that Viz University is a great resource to dive in deeper on all of the different products and workflow solutions that we talked about today. Viz University offers university-level training on all the Viz RT production tools, and there are other great resources like the 2-minute Tuesday tutorials that these guys are putting out regularly. If you have any information, if you'd like to reach out to your Viz RT partner in your local area, give the NDI November team a call, leave your information here in the chat, and we are happy to help answer any questions and provide you with the right resources. Jeremy, before I let you go, I'm going to check in on the chat to see if we have any interesting questions from our audience today. How about it, guys? How's it look?
Yeah, we did have one question come in. Someone asked, can a TriCaster record individual audio channels? Basically, ISO for audio.
Jeremy, can a TriCaster record individual audio channels? ISO for audio.
We're getting there. I can marry that audio to a recording. So if I want to pair that audio on that input channel of the TriCaster with an available video source, yes. But there's not right now its own individual audio track yet. I'm stressing yet.
Yet. Okay. And I will tell you too, from talking to Miguel and Roberto last week, audio is the area of focus where there are a lot of development resources being put in right now. So when Jeremy uses the word yet, it's probably because he has to. When we use the word yet, it's probably because it's not going to be too long until we see some of this power added to these systems. Anything else?
Yeah, there's also third-party stuff that's out there as well. So I say yet because there might be something on the market that I just haven't seen. Now, I know there's stuff out there from Llama and a few others where we can do some NDI mixing. And yes, I can record some of those files in a different way. So technically, there is a way to get there. It's just not on the TriCaster specifically yet on ISO that audio. But again, I know there's more out there and more to come.
And, you know, I'm glad you said that, Jeremy, because that is one of the advantages of the NDI technology is not only are you subject to the development that the NDI team is doing or that Viz RT is doing, they've opened up this technology to a huge number of partners, all available on NDI's website, where you will see hardware and software solutions being made available to help integrate into your workflow and into your production tools. So that's a great point, Jeremy. Thank you for mentioning that. Excellent. I think that's all we've got from our audience today. Jeremy, thank you again for joining us. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us and make sure you tune in for all of our content right here at NDINovember.com. Thank you.